to turn the microphone on. Gee, there's a thought. So welcome back in. The internet gods are playing with us. Kudos to Patty for getting Zoom to work. We had Bill Bradley and Big Daddy on. Audio was a little bit low. Like I said, one of those things that we'll correct as we go moving forward.
Growing pains. We'll get through it.
Growing pains, exactly. But kudos for Pat. I mean, we literally just downloaded Zoom today.
Yeah.
And he got that going.
I've never used it before.
That is totally amazing. So kudos to you, my friend. So, Patty, can we get Marianne back on again? Is that possible?
Certainly can.
Okay. This is Marianne Nauman, owner of Cotton Bowl Speedway out in Page, talking about what they're doing racing-wise and how they're dealing with the COVID. And we welcome in Miss Marianne Nauman. Oh, my God. I don't know if it was me, but I know we started calling you the first lady of racing in Texas back at Thunder Hill Raceway, back when some of us had hair, but lovely as ever. And, oh, my God, it's so great to be back involved with racing. Great to see you and everybody involved. First and foremost, talk about, obviously, racing here at Cotton Bowl Speedway and how it's to be back, how good it's to be back.
Thank you, Chuck. And yes, you were the first one to say the first lady of racing. It is great to be back. It's a different world. It's from asphalt to dirt, and so it took a little bit of adjusting. And as far as the operations of the racetrack, it's pretty much the same. But when you talk about the preparation of the racetrack, that's quite different. Of course, with asphalt, you show up on Friday, you sweep below the track, and that's when you start working on it. As soon as this race is over, they start working on it to get ready for the next race. So, with that being said, it's a lot of extra work as far as that's concerned. But as far as the operations of the racetrack, it's the same, and it's really great because a lot of the racers that raced at Thunder Hill Raceway have converted over to the dirt track. So it's kind of cool. Probably a third of the race car drivers came from the asphalt, and that's really great to see that support.
For those folks who are tuning in that may not know your long history of racing, I mean, oh my God, this is, when you listen to NASCAR radio on XM and you talk racing, if you're involved in racing, you know that if there's one person been involved as long as you have, there's many tributaries, there's many paths that you've crossed, there's many owners that you've talked to, promoters, the whole deal. Let folks understand, at least give them an idea, your rich racing history.
Well, I would say about the age of 8, my dad started racing, so that's kind of how I got interested in it. And it was just a passion that I grew to love from that moment forward. I loved watching my dad race. My uncle raced. Then my brother raced, and my son raced. My stepson races. It's just a true family sport. I think once you get racing in your blood, it's kind of hard to get out. And I've, tried other things, especially in between the transition between Thunder Hill and Cotton Bowl. And so when the opportunity came to try to keep this track going, and the drivers that were racing confronted me and asked me if I would please do this, I said, oh my goodness. And I have to admit, I did miss it. I missed it a lot. It was right at 3 years. So, I've been around a long time. I've known a lot of promoters. I've been around a lot of people. I always admired Pan American Speedway when my dad raced there. I kind of think the Weirs were definitely ahead of their time, and I was always so impressed, and that's probably where I got the desire to promote. And then, of course, my dad promoted the Longhorn Speedway, and we all together in 1981 operated that racetrack. And so that's where I got the interest. And then I started racing for a while with the guys, and that was kind of fun, and drove the street stock. So what I love about being a promoter is I see both sides of the field, being a race car driver and being a promoter and the operations of it. So I think I kind of have a little bit of it all. Not that I'm perfect in all of it by any means, but being a female promoter these days is not quite as prestigious as it used to be. It's pretty common, but I love the racers, and I love the staff. I have an amazing team that makes all this come together for me. So a lot of volunteers. So.
Well, you undersell yourself, but I'll get into that when I introduce this piece on the show itself. But talk about when COVID hit and shutting down the track and what that did for Cotton Bowl Speedway?
Well, it happened. You know, it's such a terrible situation for everyone involved, all businesses. But it nearly kept us from reopening, and then we went to the county officials who were very supportive, and then we moved into a stricter ban where the counties wanted us to get more approval, which was from the governor's office. So we started working with them. It was very time consuming. A lot of rules, a lot of regulations, and a lot of things that are important. And they told us what they wanted us to do, and we wanted to make certain that we did those things, and we wanted to be able to walk the talk. And of course, we want everyone to be safe. We do feel that the sport is something that the folks need to they need to get back into some kind of normal part of life. And, you know, we've all learned there's different ways to do things that we, you know, like wash our hands and do those kind of things that should have already been being done. But, you know, I think that some things in life will change a lot because of the situation. And I think that the racers have respected that. So we just try to go by the rules and the regulations that they put in front of us. And, you know, it was a little bit costly, you know, signs and all of the stuff that they required from us, the online ticketing, so that we could be able to say who is here. And, you know, if something should happen, we have great documentation for that. So we've made that extra effort, and the racers and the fans have bin fantastic.
Yeah, you mentioned the Wares. Trey Ware was my idol as far as like racetrack announcer goes, and I try to pattern myself after him. But something I don't think I've ever told you, and I really want to take the opportunity now. I was lucky to be where I was at Thunder Hill, you know, to be the first announcer there, get involved with that. Obviously, like, you know, you and your staff, I had a lot of people that helped me out. But you were the one that really taught me how to work the crowd. You were the one that made me understand why the crowd had to get involved. You know, when I think back, you know, the YMCA, you know, showing one at the flag stand, stuff like that. I mean, being out here the last couple weeks, that's what I felt like. It's like all that just coming back up inside of me. What made you understand the tremendous job that you do to get the fans involved?
Well, that's an easy answer. It was during a really sad time, and it was when I had lost my dad. And my mom and my sister and I all decided to up and go to a family reunion that was out West Texas. And we went to, of course, we'd been raised, so we found the nearest racetrack that was around, which was Altus, Oklahoma. And I remember that night, you know, I thought, this is going to be so boring. I'm not going to know any racer. I'm just going to be watching racing. But they had an announcer there that was so thorough on telling you about the race car driver that was out there, whether they were in the points lead or whether they were running for points, who they were, where they were from. And it just made me feel like, you know, you've got to make these fans know who's out there and have them appreciate who's out there and help them to choose someone to cheer for, even if they don't know anyone. So I left there that night thinking, you know, announcing to me is the most important thing as far as entertaining the race fans. So it's like the most important thing, and I loved the way you always did all of that. You know, I might have recommended it, but you took the ball and ran with it.
Well, it truly has left a mark on me. I mean, flat out, just absolutely amazing. We're going to continue on, but I want you to give folks a way to find out more about Cotton Bowl Speedway and a way that they can maybe come out here and watch.
Great. Thank you, Chuck. It's Cotton Bowl Speedway, and we're located in Page, Texas, which is just outside of Elgin and just before you get to Giddings. It's just a nice little drive, beautiful drive, out off of 290. We have a lot of racers come in from Houston, Bryan, College Station, Austin, San Antonio. So we get a pretty good variety of drivers that come here. I think one of the nicest things right now, because there are folks out there that aren't ready to get out and about, so we offer Speed Pass, where they can watch us live on Speed Pass with a membership, which is really great. But if you go and do the Speed Pass, be sure to put your home track as Cotton Bowl Speedway. It does help support the racetrack, but it also gives you access to watching these races live. And then on nights that we're not racing, you're able to, with that same membership, watch other racetracks. Like on Friday night, you can watch Hard on Texas in Waco. we're not racing here, you can watch Texana. So there's a lot of opportunities that come with that membership, and it's very affordable. And then you can get to see the racing, or you can come out and smell it, see it, and feel it. And it is a dirt track, so be sure to bring those goggles.
All right, sweetie. Thank you. We'll definitely be catching up and doing more with you. But thanks very much for the time.
Thank you, Chuck.
So there you go. The lovely, kind of the, wow. Now we're, okay. Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hi there.
Hello.
We're in a big hall, I guess.
All right, so folks, we apologize. This has been Serious Manic Monday. We got the Zoom thing, and that worked really well. We've got Sam Tipton, Executive Director of TGCA, coming up in just a minute. But we've had the internet drop twice on us. So if you're still with us, we are happy now to bring in Mr. Sam Tipton, Executive Director of the Texas Girls Coaches Association. And we're efforting. There he is. Sam, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Working on it. Hang on just a second. Okay, Patrick's working on it. Hang on just a second, Tim. Okay, Sam, how are you? Can you hear me?
I'm doing well.
Oh, there we go.
Chuck?
Okay, we got it. There we go. I'm not sure if you just heard me say, it's been kind of manic. Our internet has dropped twice here tonight, so we've had to reboot everything. But the good news is the replay will look like we had no problems whatsoever.
The great thing about technology.
That's right. How are you, my friend? It's so good to have you back on the show.
Well, it's a pleasure to be asked to be back on the show. That
Oh,
meant
yeah.
That, the last time I must not have done too bad.
Well, we got rave reviews, but even so, we had to have you on because we need an update from the Texas Girls Coach Association. I was talking to Lee Grisham earlier. We want folks to understand and know what's going on. First of all, let's focus on the TGCA upcoming clinic, July 6th through the 9th. What's going on with that? What's the status of it? And what can you let folks know about that?
Chuck, I appreciate the opportunity to visit about the 2020 TGCA Summer Clinic. You know, as everybody knows in this world we live in today, every day is a new day and every hour something changes. But we are so fortunate that our summer clinic is going to be located in Arlington, Texas, which is in Tarrant County.
Mm-hmm.
And our Arlington CVB, our Arlington Convention Center, our other hotel that we're using there for the summer clinic, the Arlington Sheraton, all these people have worked so diligently establishing the safety guidelines, health and safety guidelines that are needed to put on a clinic. And we're bound and determined to have an in-person clinic in Arlington, Texas, July the 6th through the 9th.
Mm-hmm.
Now, 2 weeks ago, we had to drop our All-Star games.
Oh.
That was very disheartening.
Yeah.
But the way the protocol was set up, there was no way that we could do All-Star games under the rules and regulations that have been established. I do want to commend the governor's office. I do want to commend the Texas Education Agency, and I highly am very pleased with the way the University Interscholastic League has been able to take what those two places have handed down to them and bring about a protocol that is about as safe as you can be.
Mm-hmm.
Now, did I agree with everything in the protocol? I certainly didn't, but after watching it in progress, I fully back what the University Interscholastic League ended up doing.
Right.
They put our coaches, they put our student athletes in a position that if something did happen, we wouldn't have to shut down a whole school. We could shut down pods, and that has been really good. That's what we're setting up for our in-person clinic. Now, when we do this in-person clinic, July the 6th through the 9th, we know that there's a lot of schools in the state of Texas that have a travel ban for coaches. So right after the clinic, in the next 2 weeks, we will do a virtual clinic, which is based on the speakers that we have in Arlington, Texas. So anybody that's a coach of girls athletics, if you sign up for membership and the clinic, you're going to have the opportunity to either do it in person or by a virtual clinic. But if you sign up, you're going to be able to have the ability to do a virtual and an in-person, because we will have everything set up for that to happen.
And how much work has that taken to get that done?
My staff is doing a tremendous job, and I've got a limited staff. You know, I've got a membership woman who is Oma Garman. I've got my administrative assistant, who is Audrey Tipton. I've got our horse all-star coordinator, who also is our assistant executive director, Lee Grisham. All those people have worked their backsides off, having to change agendas, having to change things on a daily basis, and they've done it with a smile on their face and having to put up with me on a daily basis, because there have been days I've been awfully frustrated.
I can't imagine. But you know what? You've adjusted. We've thrown you a couple curveballs tonight, and you've done exceedingly well, showing that you are Mr. Versatility.
Oh my goodness, Chuck, let me tell you, I always tell my staff and also our executive committee, our board of directors, we always have to have a plan B. But it's amazing how many times I have been asked in the last 2 months, what is the plan
What
B?
is Plan B?
and I think we're down to about E and F right now.
I can't
But
imagine.
the great thing about it, Chuck, is the fact that this is for our coaches, and that's what we are. Texas Girls Coaches Association is nothing but a service organization for member coaches. And of all times, the coaches need us is right now.
Yeah.
But of all times we've needed coaches, it's right now. So yes, we're trying to do the best we can. We're trying to also make sure, as we approach every phase of this, that it's in a positive mode. You know, I just had to tell 3 Hall of Fame inductees that we're not going to be able to induct them in July. We're going to have to wait 1 year from now to do that induction. I just had to pass a message on to the Texas Press Association for them to receive the Margaret McCowan Distinguished Service Award. We're going to have to wait 1 year. I've got state championship coaches that always get their ring at our Hall of Honor banquet.
Right.
We're going to have to ship those out instead of doing that in person. We're going to have to ship plaques out for Coaches of the Year.
Wow.
These are things that to us as an association mean so much, because those coaches and those Hall of Fame people, they dedicated their life to being a part of girls athletics. And this is one of the ways that we turn around and say, thank you for what you've done. So yeah, it's crushing. It's crushing to tell student athletes that we're not going to be able to have an all-star game.
Yeah.
But our major objective right now is to make sure whatever we do There are health and safety standards set up, and there's protocols set up so that we can make it as safe as it can be.
Right. Hey, before Leland Freeman asks you a question, I want to get his question in. I'm going to ask you right now. So, if the clinic's on, does it mean, as we stand right now, at this very moment, that volleyball season on August 1st starts as normal? And does cross-country season start as normal as of right now?
Our main objective has been to, number one, we had to have a starting point. And finally, we got that starting point June the 8th. The UIL was able to say this is a starting date. We have an objective, everybody involved, to play volleyball and football starting on August the 3rd, Monday, August 3rd.
Okay.
That is what we're striving to do through our strength and conditioning, through our skills, so that we can get to that school start date for athletics.
Okay.
Of course, cross-country and our individual sports, they're not governed under the same guidelines. They can basically work out year-round. It's just our team sports that are governed by the August 3rd start date.
Sam, this is Leland. Quick question regarding how you mentioned earlier that instead of suspending an entire school, if there is a COVID infection, that there would be pods. So what measures are being put in place at the school level to keep these pods, these groups of student athletes from, I guess, cross-contaminating each other? And how long do you feel that these measures would have to be in place? Would it just be this season, and if there is that if this pandemic is considered controlled, that things would be back to actual normal in fall of 2021?
Yes, that is a great question, and there are still a lot of questions as to what that August 3rd start date will look like. When we talk about pods, basically what we're talking about is grouping athletes, and if you're indoors, making sure there's no more than 10 to a group. So if something happens, somebody come down with coronavirus in that group, we would be isolating those 10 and that coach instead of isolating everybody that was indoors. So that's what we're talking about. We talk about pods. We're talking about the grouping of athletes in their workout situations. If you're indoors, they're allowing zero contact, and they're allowing 10-foot and 6-foot, and making sure that those kids are put in the best environment they can be put in.
And
They won't even allow the school to furnish water. Each individual brings their own water.
And
They don't allow them to do anything. They don't allow them to hand out towels. And those kids are not allowed to use dressing facilities as of right now. What will they look like August 3rd? That's all that has to be put into a model, and the governor's task force and the Texas Education Agency will have to okay all that.
what about contact sports such as ladies basketball? How's that going to work?
Right now, you cannot do any one-on-one work or scrimmaging because of the contact. They're highly, highly concerned about basketball. Volleyball, you can do 6-foot spacing, you can do 10-foot spacing, but in basketball, you've hit the nail on the head. It is a contact sport, and the doctors on that governor's task force is highly concerned about allowing to open that up. That's one reason why we couldn't go with the All-Star games in basketball, because right now there's no one-on-one, there's no scrimmaging that's allowed.
Right. Well, Sam Tipton, thank you very much for the updates. We'll have you on before next month's TGCA clinic up in Arlington. Always a pleasure. Always appreciate the update. You are the man with the information, and looking forward to seeing you, working with you at the clinic. And again, we'll catch you before the clinic next month.
Chuck, really appreciate that. Appreciate being able to maybe clear some things up.
Yep.
All I can say is tomorrow's another day, and we're going to walk in and we're going to be smiling. And I tell everybody else, let's just keep smiling, keep plugging, and this all shall pass one of these days.
Amen. Thank you, sir. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Once again, kudos to Patty for getting everything done via the Skype as, again, just learning as we go here, but tremendous job, man. Way to go.
That was fun.
That was fun. That was so great.
I like the way you put the placement of the boxes on the screen. So when I give you a thumb up, I'm also pointing up directly to our producer.
There you go. Mm-hmm. Hey, is Mike Allen around? Can we preview his show coming up real quick?
We probably can. He's probably.
Hey, you got the graphic with the ODC Fun Fact of the Week?
I do not.
Oh man, it's in the drive. Come on.
Give me 1 second.
Okay.
And I can
All right.
pull it
Okay,
up.
so while he's doing that, so right now, Leland, as we stand, NFL is on. NHL, although it doesn't have specific dates, is on. NBA and MLB are a completely different story.
And the other interesting thing that has come out is that Governor Abbott has stated that the stadiums are only going to be at 50% capacity.
On the other hand, Governor Abbott has come out and said 50% at stadiums.
Exactly.
So that's a good thing.
That's still 25,000
to 50,000 ish
in a football stadium, depending on what it is. Now, a pro stadium is going to be easier to ration the fans because they have actual seats. So it'll be easy to say, okay, just don't sell every other seat.
This section, this section, this section, yeah.
The college stadiums that use the benches, that's going to be a little harder to prevent the people from bunching up.
Right. Okay, let's pop up our ODC Fun Fact of the Week. And basically, it's this day in history type situation. June 15th, 1902, the largest score ever for a minor league baseball game. And of course, as we live and breathe in Texas, here it is. It's Corsicana defeating Texarkana 51-3. Now, a little background. The league, the Texas League, it was the Texas League back then, was just in its second year. The catcher right there, you see him, J. Justin Clark, in this game. Now, this game was actually scheduled. If you go down to the fourth point, the game was scheduled for Corsicana, but it fell on a Sunday. This date fell on a Sunday. And because of the quote-unquote blue laws, they had to move the game to Ennis, which, of course, is near Dallas. According to reports, the outfield fence at Ennis was only 210 feet from home run or from the home plate. The Texarkana owner says it was more like 140 feet. Either way, J. Justin Clark of Corsicana hits 8 home runs. He goes 8 for 8. As a team, the Oilers, or Oil City as they were called, hit 21 home runs as a team. Line score 51 runs, 53 hits, 21 home runs, 5 stolen bases. They had time to steal 5 bases between the 5 home runs. 15 left on base, 4 double plays turned on defense. So there you go. There's our fun fact of the week. So are we going to get Mike or no?
I told him he's still working on the man van.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get some final thoughts here. Again, kudos to Patrick. And our apologies if you're watching the replay especially. We had the internet go down twice. And when that goes, we just have to reboot the computer, restart everything. Mm-hmm. The replay will look good because we'll be able to edit that together. But our apologies on the live. But and again, we're getting Zoom for the first time. Little audio difficulty. We'll correct that as we go forward as well. So, Patty, thank you, brother.
That was fun.
Sir,
Yes.
final thought?
Let's get back to sports. Golf and
amen.
Yeah, I mean it's
golf
good.
and NASCAR.
Golf and NASCAR and soon IndyCar and Formula One.
That's right, IndyCar.
But you know, go figure that the National Football League, which in the past, and the National Hockey League in the past, have been historically dysfunctional with labor relations, are being the most mature about this, and it also helps with the National Football League that they're able to have their games relatively on a normal schedule. And the NHL, props to them that they're actually they remember the lockout killed season, so they don't want to have that happen again. And hopefully there'll also be some form of a spring league, whether it's a resurrection in the XFL or something else. And hopefully we don't have to deal with what we dealt with this year. As Doc Brown says, don't set the time machine to 2020.
And by the way, shame on MLB. They had a huge opportunity to just really jump in the spotlight. And whether you agree or disagree with the players or owners, shame on both of them for not coming to an agreement so they could be playing right now.
Yeah, I wonder how much of this is Scott Boris's fault.
Well, I wouldn't argue that. Patty, final thought?
It was a good show, considering everything.
Talk in the mic.
It was a
There
great
we go.
show,
Thank you.
considering everything that went on. Having it.
Well,
first
it is
have to-
2020.
Yeah, first
Yeah,
having
right.
to learn how to use Zoom. I've never used Zoom a day in my life, having to learn that, and then have it crash, have to pop it back open, get the numbers in there, get the YouTube back up. Here comes Mike.
There's Mikey.
There
He'll be
he is.
on coming up at 9 o'clock.
And now I've been stumbled. So yeah, it was a good show. I'm still looking forward to NFL because the minute they say that I can buy tickets to Breeze versus Brady, I'm buying them and I'm going out there. So I'm just keeping tuned to that right now.
Now,
There
Doug,
you go.
keep in mind that the stadiums are going to be at reduced capacity, so there's going to be more demand for those tickets, Patty.
Yeah, I know it's going to be expensive, but I'm going to do it.
He's going to do it.
It's
All right,
not the
guys.
cost; it's called they'll sell out before you know
Yeah,
it.
That's true.
Yep.
That's true. All right, guys. Thanks for a great show. Appreciate it. We say